Dan to Dan, Season 2, Episode 24. Clash. Space Kaiju versus a giant robot. Who's going to come out on top? Let's talk about it. So we are back and we have this giant space kaiju who was still floating around with Okarun's golden ball, and it is facing off against a giant Buddha robot that was concocted by the team to counteract this threat. So everyone is still in a robot. Everybody's still in Power Ranger mode. They got their buttons. They got their console. And they're trying to figure out what are we going to do next? How do we operate this thing? How do we get moving? What is going to happen? And everyone decides to press a random button to try and get stuff started, and it just goes horribly bad from the start. You get arms falling off, other arms are spinning, tongue sticking out, and Okarun is ejected from the cockpit while the cuckoo bird is going off. Like, it is ridiculous. He is launched clear across the field, and basically they end up taking the beat down from Space Kaiju. Like, it's just like, yeah, no, we swinging, like we coming for you. And even when they finally get a step to kind of go forward, they still face plant. So there is nothing that they can do that is going to help them at this point in time. They are getting mollywopped by the Space Kaiju. Now, once it finally gets to beating them down, we see that Okarun is working on getting free, and he's trying to get the straps off so he can get back to the team and figure out what is going on. Now, with that being said, the kaiju decides to stomp, on the body that has now taken down the giant robot, and decides to stomp on a body in a show of, I've done it, I've won, I've conquered. And we see Gigi pop out, who is like, I am free, I've escaped, and immediately gets stepped on as soon as it pops out. So it's like, oh no, Gigi, or Evil Eye, shall I say, again, is stomped on. But Evil Eye manages to still lift the foot, which is an impressive show of strength, and knock it off balance so that it falls over. But when it falls over, of course, it causes a gust of wind to kind of go by and blow Gigi over near where Okarun is, trying to get back to them to figure out what is going on and what to do next. Of course, Evil Eye wants to fight Okarun. It's like, it's time to have a fight now. It's like, no, we don't got time for that. We got to figure this stuff out. Remember, Okarun has already gone all out twice. Like, he has no more charges left. So, and I don't know what replaces his charges, like how this gets replenished, but for now, he cannot do any type of transformation. He is stuck. So while this is going on, we see that the kaiju is actually about to step on Okarun, but gets caught by the robot. We actually get a hand moving, and it turns out Kinta has figured out how to operate the robot. Everything is based off his thoughts, and since he's the primary on it, he decides to basically throw that kaiju back, and he transforms it in his mind and upgrade to a more suitable fighting vessel. So now you've got this thing that is more, attuned to fight and is ready to go. And Kenta starts to go in. He starts wailing on this kaiju. And he is pulling out every type of move that he knows, from rocket punches, we get into these giant slams and these spins, grabbing it by the tail, which is what you do with any monster's got a tail. You swing that thing around and throw it across the city. Like, Kenta is going in. He is doing some work. So I'm glad to see that he's actually got something that he can contribute to the team. Now, during this fight, and we see that Kenta starts to have flashbacks about when he was teased and he was bullied kind of over different things that he was done. He was called names and everything. And this is where the kaiju starts to fight back, because he's got a little bit of a distressing moment, and he is trying to block some of the blasts and ends up taking some of the blasts, and he's not able to more or less hold on, and starts getting his butt whooped a little bit. But this is what he is trained for his entire life. He is trained to pilot this giant robot and do what he needs to do. So he starts to lock in and get back to it. And at one point, I think he even snaps off one of the horns during one of the blasts as he's trying to fight this thing and go back to work. Now, they end up taking some massive damage during this process because it ends up using its camouflage technique again to get the upper hand, and then starts tearing apart the giant robot piece by piece. So we see it's just nothing but a head and a torso at this point. It's like, what is it going to do? But We finally got Ira and Momo on board, and Ira uses her hair to string the thing up and basically wrap it all the way up. And Momo uses her powers to create arms and legs. So you see her reach out with her powers out of the broken parts to grab the parts that are, hanging off and to pull them back in. So we see that her powers are in between the broken joints. And now this thing is more or less like a gorilla monk type deal instead of holding the parts as well as the hair and stuff coming out. So now they can utilize their powers on a more expansive note due to fusing with the space technology with the house, and they are able to drop a beat down. And when they drop the beat down, they start putting in work. But Momo was very, very clear, which is like, if you're gonna do all this stuff, you're not just gonna swing on this thing. You're not just gonna freaking punch back and forth. You gotta really put this thing to work. And the best way to do that is to take this thing and power bomb it. And that's exactly what she does. She lifts this thing up and she goes sort of straight up, power, like I'm talking about the last ride, and drops this thing, smashes into the ground, and we see it kind of shrivel up like like a deflated balloon and drop. And that is it. It is done. So now it's like, cool, it is defeated. We are good to go. We gotta get out of here. So you see, they try to get their way out of here. So they kind of turn into like a spacecraft, which is still part house, part spacecraft, or whatever. And they're trying to fly off to get back to the location where the house is supposed to be. And when they get back there, they end up crashing there. House is still kind of halfway janky, and Okarun and Gigi are, left behind, while we have Ira and Momo who are literally unable to stay seated. They end up throwing up. They run to the bathrooms to throw up because they cannot handle what Kinta has trained for, which we saw him in the montage. He's been on roller coasters and jetpacks, whatever the case may be. He's been training for the motion sickness, so he's good to go. Everyone else is sick as a dog. Now back to Okarun and Evil Eye, who are kind of still sitting back. Evil Eye is still on top of stuff, just like, I'm just here. I'm not gonna do what you tell me to do. I want to do whatever I want to do. And Okarun's got to figure out how to get him down and to go figure out what's going on with the kaiju. So grabs a meat bun, is like, here, take this. Of course, Evil Eye's coming down for snacks. He loves snacks. So he eats the meat bun, transforms back into Gigi, and now they got to go figure out the thing with the kaiju. And basically, the entire city has shown up at this point, and that's the part that gets me. There was nobody in the city whatsoever the entire time during the fight. Like, we saw everybody scatter, nobody was present. And you gotta remember, they've ended up fighting their way out to the countryside and then back to the buildings and stuff, where the kaiju got tossed back into the buildings. And it's like, where is everybody? There is nobody hurt. There is nothing going on. But amazingly, once the kaiju is defeated, the entire city is full of people who are staring down at ground zero where the kaiju is. Like, they're surrounding, poking it with a stick and everything else. Is like, how? Like, where were we all at, 15 minutes ago? Nowhere. So Okarun gets over there with Gigi. They basically, have to take the corpse of, the kaiju, and they run off with it. And several people are giving chase because they're trying to poke at it, but they're able to get it back to the house. And after they get back to the house, we see Kinta come out, who is strutting his stuff because he's all big and bad because he just saved the world, so to speak. And while he did do his thing, you know, Gigi is just there and just like, you're just a pretty boy and worry about you. And Okarun, you gotta tell me what y'all be doing, what's going on. And Okarun's just like, look, we're just trying to find the golden ball. Like, that's it. It's not really that super important, but I like to have it back. So he decides to look inside the kaiju's mouth to see if it's there. Can't find it, but he sees something else. He's not sure what he sees. So he goes back to have a second look, and there's a zipper. So he starts to unzip this zipper. And when he does, this reveals a young, looks like green-haired alien girl with some antenna. Think mantis. Not with the bug eyes necessarily, but she's got big eyes, and she's just there. She's staring up like, what's going on? And then we see Momo and Aira slouch out the house, who just got back from throwing up, and there, what's going on? And you see Momo was holding the control cube for the house. It's like, we gotta get the house back together. And she looks up and she sees Okarun. But when she sees Gigi falling back over here, Kenta falling back over here, and this alien girl done shot up out the suit and is lip locked with Okarun. And of course, there's a callback to episode 1 where she's just sitting there, and then the entire house behind her explodes, channeled by her holding the cube, and she's got that rage. it explodes and the house blows up, and that's how the episode ends. And I'm just like, oh man, here we go. Now we got another girl to contend with for Okarun's affection. And while Okarun is all about Momo, him and Momo can't seem to get it together to figure out where they stand in a relationship or if they even have a relationship. Ira keeps trying to headbutt her way in, and now we got this green girl who was just like, yo, I'm finna get in on this. So that's where we leave off. Now I gotta wait for season 3. Don't know when we're gonna get it. Probably next summer, hopefully. Do not quote me on that. No guarantees. It's a wait and see at this point. But solid into the season. Great big battle at the end. We still got some stuff lurking. Remember, we got freaking, the ones from the hot springs who are still, out there lurking and trying to figure out what they're gonna do and how that's gonna transpire, as well as who is this new alien girl and what is her purpose, like what's gonna happen here. So that's all I got for this one. Make sure you hit the little subscribe button. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Again, these animes. This is the summer wrapping up, so we got some more stuff coming. Again, My Hero Academia, the final season, is on its way. So I'm very excited for that, as well as the Demon Slayer movie has been out. It's still in theaters now. If you're not gonna seen it, go see it. Then go check out my review on it, as well as we got Chainsaw Man movie in the works. So we're waiting on that one as well. Like that should be released in October, I believe. So we got some stuff. Make sure you check it out. Till then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.